No!
What?
It died.
Oh no.
Yes! Move that.
I have a camera.
It's worth it. Let the games begin.
There's a guy that I know from my high school that got kicked out of housing because he was taking pics of his showering roommate.
It's rolling now.
Wait a second.
Yeah, who's asking the question? Are you asking the question?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
Even
questions.
though you're asking them, look this
Yeah,
way.
you look at him. You tell him whatever I'm asking.
Bam. Now I think you might have got the echo of my voice, so do that again.
Okay.
You got any like
This is actually gonna be cool.
You see.
Let me tell you.
Shift.
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 Shift. This project was going to be, it was going to be new and exciting, the fact that we could actually build something. So obviously in years past, this has been something that was just sort of, it was paper architecture, I mean just like everything else we do in the studio. But finally this is something that was going to actually become tangible. So there's an excitement about it that we're really going to pull this off, we're really going to do this. And it was fun going into the project that way. As far as the project itself is concerned, I'm not the best furniture designer. I don't really know what I was getting myself involved with, but it turned out it was a lot of fun, and we could use a lot of the things that you learn, through the art of designing buildings over the years, actually, in this as well. I guess it's the overall concept of design. It just can be used in multiple areas. Well, the great thing about the architecture building is the fact that you have extremely static objects and you have extremely movable objects. And the idea that we're on this this column grid system with these non-load-bearing walls that obviously don't move necessarily, but they can be torn down with no problem, as well as movable furnitures and things. So the tables, the chairs, everything else, all revolves and all flows within this very static grid. So our project, adding in more furniture into the architecture building. We went with the idea that these things should be extremely highly mobile. So we came up with this pod system where these pieces could actually be moved physically by students or faculty when needed or not needed. It could actually be put out of sight into a closet. So this idea of movability, of reflecting other non-static objects in the architecture building, was a huge deal when we were coming up conceptually with our idea. The strongest aspect of our design, it's again this the system of pods, the system of pieces that can constantly change and adapt to student life. So another aspect of this is enhancing student and faculty culture and just daily life in the building. So the fact that this is not going to ever be in the way of students, no matter what that space is being used for. These pieces in reviews can either be moved away, or tables and chairs become pin-up boards and model shelves. So that no matter what is going on, no matter what's taking place at the site, in these either into the building, it's actually adapting. It's shifting into something that I believe our design is extremely strong, both conceptually and this idea of when it's actually built and its performance. We came up with something that fits the architecture building perfectly in the way that it moves, it changes. This is something that would be a great addition to the architecture building. It's from material choices to the way it shifts, it blends into this architecture, our building's environment. It would be incredible to have, and I believe students would love actually using it, and being able to manipulate a feature of the building would be huge. That people would actually have a hands-on interaction with this thing, not just another set of shelves or another kitchenette. Really, it's the first kitchenette. And that's something. We designed something that's going to be used by students on a daily basis. This is something late at night. You see students sneaking in coffee machines and microwaves that we shouldn't be doing, but it happens just because it's something this program is lacking within our building. So finally, this is something we might actually get. And the fact that this is something new, this is something very much needed in our architecture building, and that the fact that it's going to actually get built is added to the excitement of coming into this project in the first place.
For me, really, the most important aspect of a community space, especially like the one in the architecture building, is probably the relaxation, the different atmosphere it creates. Because for me, one thing that I've desired above all other in this building in general is just somewhere I can go that is not a studio, somewhere I can go that is not a concrete floor, that is not the usual. I mean, it's just a change of pace. And it would be nice to have a space, I thought, you know, in the architecture building where I didn't have to go walking to the library and didn't have to go walking back to my dorm. So I think we're filling in a niche that's definitely needed to be filled for a long time. It was intimidating. I was intimidated because this is my first design competition ever, and I really had never had someone seriously asking me, hey, design a usable space for a frequented building on campus. I mean, I kind of fell over my head, really, and I don't know, it's an unusual level of responsibility for me. I never really thought, especially a first-year student, that someone would trust me to a task like that. And then I got with my team, and I mean, we had Hunter, he's the pro on 3D modeling, and we seemed to collaborate pretty well. So after a while, I got a little more confident about what we were doing, and it turned out pretty well in the end. Foldable tables that could be, you know, kind of hung up on the wall and turned into presentation boards, but then at the same time they could be brought down like card tables. And it was definitely an interesting concept, and I ended up fiddling around on Google a little bit, you know, find out that they sell the individual folding table legs that you could just attach to something if you wanted it. I think in the end we ended up finding a mounting bracket system to hang them up on the wall. What we ended up doing for the materials was the basic concept was going to be just kind of a base layer with the legs attached, and then we were going to have a bit of a frame, kind of an inset frame, and then a layer of cork as the table surface. And that actually is kind of hard for me because I suppose, really from my viewpoint, designed it to be the absolute best that it could with my team, and I thought it over quite a few times, and I guess really what the greatest weakness of the design might be the mobility of the modules, because while that certainly can prove convenient in a lot of situations, you know, who's to say that you're not going to get down there and you need the printer or something and someone's wheeled the printer cart away and you have no idea where it is. So we would definitely have to impose some restrictions on that if possible, and really, I think for the most part the designs, we're kind of crossing our fingers for people to just be decent enough to not wheel away everything they need and then forget to put it back. I feel very confident in this design.
The coolest thing that shifts, I would say, are the stools. Well, one, I think they're just pretty cool, but two, they're so useful. That you can have this seat that you can pretty much do anything, including lay on, and then it flips over and becomes a table that you can put something on, or a coffee ottoman, or, you know, something that can be useful and in many ways just not a seat. The chairs work by having a lid that one flips over and there's the flat part. They also have a pull-out drawer that works as storage. And this can be accessed from both the front and the back, so if the thing gets flipped around, it'll still work. They're also meant to, you know, if you have them all in line together, you want them to stay in place. And that's done by the rubber feet and by magnets on each side that kind of clip them all together, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. The most important thing, I think, when we started was we needed to address some of the basic things of the program, particularly a group seating space, and I think that was probably the biggest thing that we needed to address was the group seating space, because right now there is very little communal, relaxing space in the architecture building. Besides, you know, our desks and chairs, and we all know how comfortable those are. stools that are hard, and it's very. That's one of the things this building lacks is a sense of comfort, and I think that's one of the things we really needed to add to this building. And I think we did a decent job at it. I think it will help promote students to come here. Well, I think if I knew that students designed it and built it, I think that would inspire them to say, ooh, we can do that too. We can like design things like this that actually impact ourselves and our school, and that we actually get to do this. I think that would be the biggest impact that would have on future students. I didn't know anyone when I came into this project. I was like everybody else. You get your sheet, you find your number, you just go stand around awkwardly until someone else has your number. And it was just the two of us at first, me and Hunter. And so we ended up merging with another group, and then the first year showed up. And so we ended up having a decent group, and it was nice meeting everyone. Made new friends and everything. Pretty cool. I'm confident in what we did. I think it was a very good design. I think it's very practical. And I think it will actually get used a lot. And it's so modular you can put it anywhere, even where it's not designed to be. So I think that was a very good aspect of our design.
Probably just the fact that we can commune together and like get to know more people, because I feel like when you're in this building, there's so many people you can learn so much from. And if you're sitting in a studio and you never venture out, you never really meet anyone unless they're your TA or a teacher that you have for a specific class. And so to have a space where you could go and make food and sit around and play game cards or talk to someone, you can meet so many important people that can be so influential on your life that it's unreal. Shift is really a term that encompasses the whole entire project, especially the portability aspect, because everything in this building is always moving, is always changing. I mean, looking around, there's art projects up all the time, there's different people pinning up everywhere, everyone has their stuff out, there's people in the building in and out. So the whole point of making this space is to always have it moving, always have things moving, always changing. So the fact that the community space can actually shift and change with the building is actually a really important aspect of the whole process. I think our team worked really well together. I think we really came up with really good aspects, and we also had a lot of really good teamwork. I was worried coming in that I wouldn't be able to do much just because I don't know how to do anything computer anything. So being able to actually incorporate my drawings and being able to be a part of the whole process was really, really, really awesome, and I feel like we were really included in that. Well, I actually was in class when everything was announced, so I was really confused because I had no idea where I was going or what I was doing. So I just kind of wandered around and then finally figured out what we were doing, and that was terrifying, but I did my best to try to get to the team, and then we had the whole complication with mixing groups, and then finally I was like, okay, what is this actually going to be? And I found out that it was this awesome experience that we would get to have, to actually get to build something that we created. And so I was so excited about it, but then I was like, oh gosh, what are we supposed to do for this? Like, how are we supposed to design something for this space that's so small and so constricting? I think raw plywood's a little rough, but I think it could turn out really awesome just because it's a minimalistic type design. The fact that it's the same as the building, that the things in the building are very industrial and very changeable, and so the fact that it's solid slab and concrete and just masonry walls, there's very little coloring really when it is. It's very intentional. The fact that there can be raw plywood is pretty cool. I think I'm very confident in our designs. I think that our designs are innovative and technically sound and hopefully really cool, and I feel like it would be a really great design to use in this building.
My first impression of the project was I thought it was very interesting, and I like the fact that they thought about the students and how that we stay here for a long time, in the building, that we could use a kitchenette, and that'd be very helpful for us. The library space was created for students to be able to go either to the third floor or the fourth floor, to be able to go in that room and to be able to get the books, so they wouldn't have to go all the way to the library space. It was also convenient to have a desk in there so people could either read the books or the magazines while taking notes instead of having to come back to studio. So it would be a good spot to take a break and just read a book. The most important, I thought, was that the pieces were, the little pods were movable, so that certain studios could access these pods. Maybe if one studio was throwing a party, they could just take the pod that has all the accessibilities, such as the refrigerator or the
Expressed by Hunter Todd are not necessarily affiliated with
Everyone
Sean
else.
McCarran or Pruitt Smith in general.